All right, everyone, here we are with ticker symbol OCGN, Ocugen Inc. And before we jump into this chart, I want to say welcome to all the first-time viewers and investors. Welcome to the channel, Invest for Tomorrow. To all the subscribers, welcome back. And as we jump into this chart, I do want to quickly announce to every single investor and viewer to stay tuned till the end because I have a new ticker symbol you definitely want to add to your watch list, and you won't want to miss this one. You definitely want to keep this one on your radar. It has dipped since earnings and it's already pulling back up, and this is in the AI intelligence sector, and there's so much room for this company based off of analysis ratings and articles and future potential for the company in market share of AI intelligence and everything of that sort moving forward. So stay tuned. We're going to look at the chart and the ticker symbol, but let's talk about Ocugen Inc., OCGN stock. It continues to go down. So our support and resistance are at new locations. It's a very narrow stretch. We're going to talk about this a little bit broader. So our support is currently sitting at the post-market price. And the lowest point I've talked about here, if we got this low, was 175 to keep in mind. And then beyond that would be 172, and the lowest 162, 160 range, give or take. Right now, it's 175. We definitely want to keep that in mind moving forward. It's about 11 to 10 cents away from where we're at right now. And we're seeing this actually go in a downward direction. No catalyst right now. We need a catalyst for this stock to rise back up, right? The previous catalyst was good news on the trial phases. Then the good news of Ocugen becoming the US market distributor. So I went ahead and I looked up some articles, and there's this article. It's kind of one of the top heading ones. And it's saying, don't get suckered in to buying basically Ocugen, right? Into the Ocugen stock. And a lot of investors are asking, like, what's going on? Why is Ocugen going down? There's not enough hype, and speculation is dying out. And it's talking about last year, February, March, where there was a number of stocks that went crazy because speculators bet they could profit from solving the novel coronavirus pandemic. Now, it began again with Ocugen this year, beginning of the year, ending of last year. So here we are with some points of the article. So the article talks about how great, Covaxin is showing in its trial phases. Phase 1 data showed tolerability, was published in the medical journal, and then also phase 2 data on efficacy showed that the vaccine does induce immunity. So Ocugen's partnerships appears to have a chance to bring the approved product to the US market. And that's at least part of why investors have bought Ocugen stock hand over fist. Now, this is the important part down here. Okay, more importantly, the vaccine that just works isn't necessarily going to win. And then it keeps on going. So it's basically telling you, just because the vaccine works doesn't mean it's going to be a winner. Remember, right now, the main winners are Pfizer, or Pfizer as you call it, and Moderna. Those guys are definitely dominating right now in the sector, and being distributed, but Ocugen is trying to bring Covaxin over here. So this seems pretty optimistic here and hopeful. Then it says, as far as Covaxin goes, yes, the early data shows some promise, but it needs to be emphasized. And that was very important when I read this. It's early data. It's really early right now. So things are cooling off for Ocugen, right? Now, it is holding itself up really well from way down here below $1. I've said this in previous videos as well. We need to watch that it doesn't break through these points and it kind of stays within this channel so that it can have another catalyst to bring it up like we saw here, but hopefully higher into newer highs. Now, it's been driven twice by news. I've always talked about this early on when we started seeing this going in the downward direction, and even around the videos back here around the middle of January. Like about a week and a half ago. We were talking about how did this run up? Why did it run up? I wanted every single investor to always ask themselves that question. This was driven on news. This was driven on news. There's no more catalysts right now. No news, no trial phases that are spectacular to, make every single investor say, wow, or put them in awe, right? To just jump in and be attracted by Ocugen. So the next part of the article is towards the bottom, and then it says, the The problem with Covaxin is if it doesn't win, it's just as good as the other products targeting the US market. It clearly needs to be much, much better. So Covaxin isn't the only vaccine that exists. It's competing. Another thing too is that it doesn't have the muscle, which is basically saying the funds and the resources to compete with the giants. Otherwise, those giants already have ramped supply thanks to agreements with worldwide governments for billions of doses. Ocugen and Bharat have no such agreements in the US. I think this is one of the biggest things holding Ocugen down. Now, the risk has always been there. I've stated it in the previous videos, and I'm stating it right now. If Ocugen doesn't make it through with Covaxin into the US market and no agreements go through and no purchases, then there's no revenue. We're going to see this go just as fast as it went up all the way down. Now, it's in a very subtle downward movement. So a lot of investors are probably giving up, or they're probably realizing, you know what? I've been watching this run up. I saw it kind of fall down. It came back up, and I was like hopeful around this area. And now that we're below almost $2.15, $2.20, even $2, I feel like getting out. So people are just getting out quicker here, and they're taking profits. Anybody that got in here, anyone that got in here, or down here. If they got in around here, hopefully it was a little bit below 186, or they got in and broke even before it reached 186. So the stock right now is showing the reflection of investors that are getting exhausted of being patient, not seeing another catalyst, and remembering, and this is why I always emphasize, you want to remember why this ran up. The fact that it ran up on news here, it ran up on news here, and there hasn't been anything other than these two news to ramp up this stock, to make it so exciting that investors are attracted and jump in. Now, you do see a lot of investors holding this up though, because it hasn't broken through the low that I've talked about, 162 and 172, right? Or 160, 170 to round it down to a whole number. Those 2 points there are pretty important, and we've been holding up above them pretty well, but we're getting closer to them, and that's interesting. Now, the thing is, the stock still has potential, and that's what's probably holding a lot of investors in. But as more investors slowly start to leave, even if good news is to come soon, they're like, I'm out of here. And then it's going to be the typical experience of a lot of investors. Oh, I got out and the stock went up. You know what I mean? Or I buy and the stock's going down. We all feel that at some point. And a lot of investors right now are questioning to stay in Ocugen and hold through, or take the risk. They're taking the risk because, like we've said before, either they finally get it up here into the US markets and this just starts to run, or doesn't happen, or it takes too long and it's making it much more difficult for Covaxin / Ocugen to compete with bigger names like we saw in that article, and it just pulls right down. There's potential there, but things are not moving forward now. They're kind of stalled, and that's where the worry is. And then Ocugen, you want to remember, it came from way down here, like 28, 30 cents. I mean, what a run up. And then now we're still hanging out at around, a total amount of 8 times that, or almost 8 times that, like 7 times that, 6 times that, right? So we're not that far down, but we're not that far up either where it could have been to continue to consolidate. But it's been holding up. We need to watch this carefully. And a lot of investors need to think about, what is it that their goal is in this stock, and how far out do they see this being a potential candidate to actually become a U.S. market distributor, more than just, talking about it in articles. And yeah, they've went ahead and have that opportunity with Covaxin, but they haven't started distributing. So that's our main concern right now for this stock as investors. So support is 186. We're currently sitting at it. If that gets broken through, the next point is down at around this point right here, as I stated earlier, 175. And you definitely want to keep that in mind moving forward. Then 172, and then 162. Now our resistance is here, 194. That needs to be broken through, turn into a support, and the bulls need to continue to work their way up to newer highs, new resistance levels, and get closer to the 50-day moving average, which is 205. As long as we're below it, we're in bearish territory. The moment we're above it, we're in bullish territory. But 194 needs to be broken through, turn into a support, and the bulls need to continue to pull their way up to newer highs and new resistance levels. As always, if you found this video helpful and informative, please do so and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications and not miss a single video that I post. Share this with your friends and community, and don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watch this video. Stay tuned till the end because I have a stock pick that you definitely want to add to your watch list and keep on your radar. Stay tuned for more information. So for everyone that has stayed to this point in the video, yesterday we talked about INTC, Intel Corp, and today I'm going to share another stock that you definitely want to keep on your watch list moving forward. It's in the same sector, but it's actually a little bit more comparable to Nvidia, and it's almost 1/4 of the price. Now, INTC, we talked about it yesterday. I just want to do a small recap. We circled the big circle, how much it's dropped. We did the small circle. This could be the bottom, but we're also seeing it slightly recover. And then we drew that we want to see if this consolidates or pulls down further, because it could pull down further. Right now, it's within the consolidation period and area. Very interesting enough. It's been holding itself up, and there's room here for INTC to work its way back up over time. There's definitely potential, especially in this sector. Now, the one I'm going to share with you guys is IBM. This is the one you want to add to your watch list, and this one's already recovering really fast. I did not think it was going to recover this fast. As I did yesterday's video, I was looking at INTC. I was like, possibility of a type of consolidation to form, and we're already seeing it. And IBM was consolidating pretty fast at these lows. And quickly, as the day started to run, you could just see it running. And as I'm speaking about it, it's working its way up to newer highs. Interesting enough, it's like fighting to keep pushing, and it keeps seeing newer highs every 30 minutes so far. Now, IBM, it's a little bit more pricier, but it hit lows here of 117, and the midway point of all of this is about right here at this point of 115. And then the next point would be probably down here at 111 and then 105. But to kind of break this down into three sections, 117, your first support, your next one's 115, and then down here at 105. So you kind of have those points of reference to see if it continues to pull in that direction in the near future, or if it doesn't even get near them, this is already pulling back up, and it might seem to have been the bottom of this drop. I'm not saying that it can go any lower later in the future, but it seems like this has been the bottom. And if we see consolidation forming, right, for a really short period moving into tomorrow or the next following days, and then continue to work its way up, this could be on its way back up to these highs over an extended period of time, either weeks or months from now. Now, the one thing I do look here at the chart is that a lot of investors that have been in way before this started to run from 105 all the way to here, anywhere around this area, are saying, whoa, the last time we saw this at 117, 118 was back in November 20th, 23rd, leading into the end of the month. So we haven't seen this type of discount for 2 months now. So long-term investors are definitely jumping in and taking advantage of the price. That is becoming very obvious. And a lot of investors were willing to pay these premiums. So at some point, once it gets back up to these numbers, it's going to keep pushing up. So very interesting, in my opinion, based off the chart, how quickly it's reacting. This is definitely one to keep on your watch list and radar. As always, if you like this video and you found it helpful and informative, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to click on the bell. Share it with your friends and community. Don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watched this video. And thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.